The next presentation by Menisa Antonio. I see here in my program there is no real-time participation, but we have a pre-recorded video.
It's early dawn here in the Philippines, so I greet everyone a happy morning. I am Menisa Antonio, a full-time researcher from the Mariano Marcos State University, and I am happy to be a part of this year's WWD Symposium. And I am more happy to be presenting to you our research on the underutilized Yams family Dioscoreaceae for food and feed source, ethnobotanical evidences from Ilocos Norte, Luzon, Philippines. Yams are important non-wood forest species. They are economically important for their tuberous starchy roots, particularly the genus Dioscorea, which are staple foods in many tropical regions and sources of raw materials in the pharmaceutical industry. In our province here in the Philippines, the traditional use of yams is common in many remote and upland communities. They are subsistence food. Sometimes they are alternative to rice, especially during the lean months and hunger season that precedes crop harvest. Generally, they are underutilized. So to harness their potential in broadening the food base for household food security, health and nutrition, including income supplementation, we studied yam species diversity in the province and documented some ethnobotanical evidences confirming the important position of yams in the subsistence, livelihood, as well as culture of the people in Ilocos Norte. For our study sites, we have the province of Ilocos Norte, which is composed of 4 agroecological zones. We have the northern coastal, the southern coastal, the central lowland, and the eastern interior. So we have 6 study sites representing the 4 agroecological zones. And we made use of a key informant interview, and our respondents are 19 to 90 years old. They are mostly married, female, residing in the area since birth, and also mostly are farmers. Now, to supplement our key informant interview, we also have actual forest walk to confirm or validate the yam species mentioned in the interview. So for our research highlights, this is the species distribution per municipality. Based on the Angiosperm phylogeny group classification, at present there are 4 genera consisting the family Dioscoreaceae. We have the Dioscorea, Taca, Trichophos, and Distonomerus. But in this survey, we were able to document only 2 genera from Ilocos Norte. And we have 10 taxa belonging to 9 species. And as I have said, 2 genera only. Now, basically, all the species are present in all the study sites except for 3. We have Dioscorea divaricata, Dioscorea pentaphylla, and Taca palmata, which are present only in 1 or 2 sites. And in terms of the preferred or top consumed species, number 1 is Dioscorea luzonensis, which is preferred in all the towns. And we also have, following closely, Dioscorea hispida and Taca iontopetaloides. So basically, these are the 3 species which are most important economically. Okay, so these are the species we're talking in this study. We have 9 taxa because we have 9 species because we have 2 varieties. Under Dioscorea esculenta, we have the variety fasciculata and the variety espinosa. All these species are generally wild, except for D. alata, which is both cultivated and wild, D. bulbifera, and D. esculenta variety fasciculata, which are both cultivated. The rest are growing in the wild. Now, In terms of the species importance level, our key respondents strongly agreed that these yam species provide more food to their family. They moderately agree that wild gathering or growing yams provide additional household income. They only agree that these are nutritious, has some medicinal uses, used as animal feedstuff, and has other uses such as laundry starch to stiffen fabric or linen. They moderately disagree that this has ornamental or cultural values, although some of our key informants have given some ornamental plants and some cultural values or culture associated with this species. And this will show later in the succeeding slides. Now, here are some ethnobotanical evidences confirming that these yam species are indeed very important in the subsistence and survival of the people in the province. The first one is there is long history of continued utilization of this species. Let me just focus on two of the three most important economically. We have D. hispida and Taca leuntopetaloides in the municipality of Banna. And according to our respondents, the use of this species is spanned 4 generations, because we were able to interview a respondent which is about in her 70s, and she said that she could trace the use of this carrot and panarien from her parents. So we have 4 generations of utilization of these 2 species. In the case of the Hispida in the municipality of Pasukin, we have a longer utilization, which spans 6 generations, because we were able to find a respondent which is in her 90s, and she said that the use of Taca or Dioscoreaceae hispida is traced back to her parents and her grandparents. So that comprises 6 generations. When we interviewed our key respondents, they said that they have known about these plants since their childhood, and they learn about them from their forefathers or parents, from neighbors, and some or a few discovered on their own or through own experience. All of them are still utilizing or consuming this species, and the traditional uses include use as food, boiled feedstuff for livestock, particularly the native race of pigs. And this one, they also have identified one species, the Taca palmata, which has an ornamental value. Taca hispida has medicinal use. It is used as a medicinal remedy for some skin diseases. And Taca leuntopetaloides is also identified as a laundry starch to stiffen fabric or linen. And others also identified Taca hispida as a live amulet to ward off evil spirits. And when asked why they are using this species or continuously utilizing this species, the answers they gave, the top answers they gave are, these species are readily available in the area, they are abundant, and they love the taste, or they are used to their taste. Others said they are nutritious, gives them additional income, and they are emergency food, especially during the COVID pandemic. Just to give a brief backgrounder of our situation during the pandemic, our movement is restricted. Agricultural activities are even hampered, and we have limited access to commercial establishments. And so the people during this time, they became more resilient, they became more resourceful to gather what is available within their vicinity. So there are emergency food during the pandemic. The second evidence is the people's familiarity of the plants since the olden days. That's ethnotaxonomic evidence. The people in the province or our key respondents could clearly distinguish one species from the other using leaf, vine, as well as tuber characteristics. Let me just highlight the phyllotaxy. We have Dioscorea luzonensis and Dioscorea divaricata. These are both, they have the same tubering habit. They have elongated tubers, but they can distinguish which one is which through the use of the leaf arrangement. They can distinguish Dioscorea luzonensis for having the alternate leaves from that of Dioscorea divaricata, which has opposite leaves. Many literature says that twining direction is an important taxonomic character, but among our key informants, they do not use twining direction in identifying and delineating these young species. Another evidence is the presence of indigenous knowledge and practices. They have developed methodologies methodologies in processing, detoxifying, cooking. For example, they have a methodology for detoxification and processing of Dioscorea hispida. And they also have yardsticks or indicators when the hispida is properly detoxified. Same is true in the processing of Tacalion teculoides into flour. They have developed a methodology for producing flour using Taca tubers. So our people have developed methodologies in cooking, detoxifying, and processing, including developed dishes and recipes using this species. The fourth evidence is linguistic or vernacular evidence. We have vernacular names and local terminologies coined from the use of this species. They have the terminologies panagileben, which is a post-harvest storage technique, unaban or panagunab. This is the detoxification and processing of Dioscoreaceae, lapatan, this is marking the hill or providing a reference to the hill so that they can still harvest it or dig it later, even if the vegetative structures or organs are already gone. And then we have several vernacular names for this species. And in recognition of the importance of this in the lives and subsistence of the people in the province, our farmers have efforts towards the continued proliferation of this species. As I have said earlier, most of them are wildly growing, or they are growing in the wild, but we now have some key informants which are now into the domestication and cultivation of the wild plants. And mind you, they are not using any inorganic fertilizer or chemical sprays. The cultivation technology is not that intensive. And then for their conservation efforts, they are practicing the conservation through use, in which people tend to proliferate, to safeguard and protect those species which they find useful to them. And among those initiatives they follow include planting back the upper set of D. luzonensis, planting the small tubers of Taca as well as D. hispida. And they also have that rubbish heap model of domestication, because once they see some wildlings, they bolt it out and plant it in an orderly manner, or they tend to it and give it a trellis for support. And we also met one of the key respondents who are now using seeds and wildlings for planting materials, just so they have more plants to be harvested or to be gathered from later. And in addition to their use for food and feeds, we have also documented some socioeconomic and cultural importance of this species. Almost all our key informants sell what they produce or gather from the wild. They sell in the village market, the downtown market, the neighborhood, and some are orders for abroad. Their income is about 4,000 to 5,000 pesos per week from Dioscoreaceae and Dioscorea luzonensis in the early month of August. But their income gradually declines towards the peak of the harvest season in the months of November and December. And so they also have some knowledge on the price trends. So they know that they have to harvest earlier in the month of August so that they have more income from this species. And then they can go back to reharvest the tuber growth of Dioscorea luzonensis in December or onwards. According to them, the income derived from cultivating and wild gathering yam species is good, but it's only seasonal and it is only for a short duration. So there has to be some interventions to be made later to prolong the duration of utilization or harvesting of this yam species. And then in terms of cultural aspect, wild gathering of the yams have made the locals more resilient, especially during the lean months and the COVID pandemic crisis. And lastly, wild gathering has perpetuated the values of frugality and hard work among our people in the province. As I have said, the traditional use of these non-wood forest species is common. They have been with our people since the olden days, but bringing them into focus is hoped to lead to a rebirth or rediscovery of their potential for food, feeds, and other applications. And hopefully, we wanted to create greater awareness and concern towards safeguarding the species' future. Because bringing these species into focus and safeguarding their future is also safeguarding our own future. So that's all for my presentation. Good day to everyone.
Thank you very much. Because the presenter is not with us, only double electronically, this means I will move on straight to the next presentation. It is time anyway.